today I thought we could go through a few things. I have a packet of information, but one of the first things I wanted to say to you is that I hope from now forward that you will contact my office with any questions or anybody has anything in your neighborhood that comes up that they want to know more about. Please contact me because I want to make sure that everybody has the same information. Okay. Whether the outcome is exactly what everybody wants, I'm not here suggesting that that's going to be the case because y'all live in a district that owes debt and it has to be paid off. But I do want to explain, I want to walk through kind of how we got here and then talk about maybe some steps forward that we can talk about. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Cindy, neighborhood 66. Can you clarify if we contact your office, what is a reasonable number of business days in which you will get back to us?
Yeah, sure. Well, so first of all, by the end of today, we'll make sure that you have my contact information. It's real easy though. It's COMM, the number 3, COM3, Commissioner 3 at wilcotx.gov. So that's our email address. That email can be seen by me and my staff, my 2 people.
Commissioner Covey, I do have a request.
Hold on just a second before you go.
Go ahead.
Let me finish the answer. As soon as possible. It depends on what you ask me. If we have to go find information, but we try to get back to you as soon as possible and then at least let you know that we got your email. So yeah. And if you were specifically to ask a question about anything like this in this realm, not just anything like when's Reagan going to be finished. Okay. We'll talk about that. But we might blast it out to everyone. So all neighborhoods hear the same information, the same question and the same information. Okay. Yes, sir.
That was my ask. If you can let me know, because I think it's only fair to people that aren't communicating to you directly, hear the same thing. Okay.
You bet. And I would ask if you do that, that you contact us, but know that from this point forward, everybody is going to be, Judge, everybody is going to be given the same information. This is Judge Steve Snell.
Hello, everybody.
Had the opportunity to meet.
Thanks for getting it. If I can see.
But yeah.
I met y'all yesterday, so it's good to see you again.
Yep. Judge, we just got started and we're going to go around the room and introduce. Do y'all know everybody in this room?
Oh.
No, I didn't think so. I figured you didn't. I know the neighborhoods get together. I've been out to some of the events, but I didn't know if neighborhood, and I come to speak to the neighborhood reps usually annually. And so y'all may have heard from me, but I didn't know if y'all got together and visited. So you probably do for this issue, maybe in the future too. Why don't we just start around the room and we'll just go around with introductions and then we'll get started. Julie?
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Kiley. I'm the county auditor for Williamson County. For folks who don't understand the role of a county auditor in Texas government, we are appointed by the state district judges in your county, and we are the financial office of the county. We certify all expenses to the Commissioner's Court. The Commissioner's Court cannot pay anything unless my office certifies it a legal expenditure. I also have an internal audit division. I perform payroll in my office as well as accounts payable. I am appointed to a 2-year term. So every 2 years, I meet with the judges and request to be reappointed. So I have independence from the Commissioner's Court. I do not answer to them and they do not set my salary. So I just thought that might bring some clarity to my role in this process. I thank all of you.
I'm Judith Roundtree, NRep, neighborhood 69.
Chris Alexander, neighborhood rep for N71.
Gordon Williamson, NRep for neighborhood 78, 2-year resident.
Joe Orsack, alt rep for Chris's neighborhood 71.
Robin Terrell, A rep for N76.
Pete Veal, NREP for N76.
Frank Wilson, alt rep, neighborhood 77.
Doug Drablos, I'm substituting for David Brent, who was our neighbor.
Asbury from neighborhood 64. I'm filling in for Wanda McBee. She's on vacation right now.
Rita Wood, N64, alternate rep.
I'm Richard Clarkson, neighborhood 92.
Hi, Cindy Kozak, N66, NREP.
Dan Smoody, representing N75.
Style. Ty Moorhead, alt rep for 79.
Debbie Smallridge in 79.
Jeff Richter, NRep N67.
I'm Mark Pachaniuk. I'm the vice chair of the NRO.
I'm sorry, where were we?
I'm Dan Landon, the area coordinator for Area 5.
Lori Bartz, alt rep for N68.
My neighborhood.
Don, NREP for 88.
Woody Divider, neighborhood 74.
Steve Joseph's neighborhood 70. Anton Zerbrand, neighborhood 74. Jeff Boyd, neighborhood 97.
Very good.
Back here for me.
Oh, yeah, please do. Yep.
Nick Castillo, Livingston County Public Affairs. All right, and then Sharon, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Sharon Reed. I'm the one that brought this whole issue to light. And without doing that, we would not be here today. We would not hear any information. So thank you all for coming. Thank you to Commissioner Kobe and the county judge, and hopefully we're hear some good resolutions today.
And then Steve Snell, County Judge. Just in case you don't know my background, 31 years in public education. Before I became county judge, I was superintendent of schools for Liberty Hill ISD for the 7 years prior to that. I also spent time in Huddle ISD, so definitely have lived in the county for a while and know the county. I got appointed last April or a year ago, April, and hit the ground running. So enjoy working with Commissioner Kobe and getting to know y'all, and I'm here to answer questions I can and look for information if I don't have to answer that question. So thank y'all.
So one of the first things that we looked at was who was involved, who was impacted by this. And you can tell how many different neighborhoods there are that are impacted by this issue. But if we've left off a neighborhood, it was in error, so accidentally. So if you know of another neighborhood that's not here today, I think we have a pretty good representation of it. But Dan, I would ask that you help us with that if there's somebody that we've left out today.
Yeah, we also know that we have a few NREPs that aren't communicating, and I need to track it.
Okay.
Work on that too.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Yes, sir.
Just so you know, there's 3 neighborhoods that do not have reps yet
Okay.
because they're still under construction.
Do they have anybody living in the homes yet?
They do, but just barely.
Okay.
And one doesn't. One doesn't have it, the others do. So just so you're aware, they may not be aware of what we're talking.
I have ways of communicating to them through the email system, so I can contact.
But
And I'll
that was
to you to,
physically here.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that was one thing that I wasn't sure if we would have, gotten a hold of everybody that was involved.
In fact, Jeff, right here, he hasn't been, we call it launched. He's not officially part of the NRO, but I invited him anyway.
Good.
So,
Our all road is here with us.
Okay.
cool.
Is that one of the newest areas?
Yeah.
What is that
It's
neighborhood?
97.
Wow, that's
and
incredible.
I think
97.
Overlook is carved out. 88 is there, but 97 is not in the tax district.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I invited him anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you were able to join us today.
They could join me.
Sounds like it would just take a vote.
Commissioner Kobe,
Yes, sir.
we met on the elevator. How many of y'all live in a bud? It's what?
We're the only neighborhood,
Yeah.
Those two.
we're the only neighborhood in Sun City that's involved in a bud district. We're Cardinals Electric, we're City of Georgetown Utilities, everything except for the electric. And somehow we got put in a bud district with a 0.55 cents per $100 valuation. It's one of the highest taxing neighborhoods in the entire city of Georgetown.
What's the?
What was the total? What?
0.55 per 100.
Well, that's because it's an in-city mud and the city has limited that to 55.
Thank you.
Most muds, well, most muds are higher. Yeah. Well, because you're paying the city tax as well. Yeah.
That's a question on that district. So what's the name of that district?
The mud district,
Mud district, yeah.
it's not totally positive. It's a Woodside mud district.
Which side by number one?
That's it.
That was a recent add-on to Fulte.
Has a board of directors.
I don't know. Love to find out.
You don't know if it has a board of directors.
Should have one.
I told him to volunteer for it.
Yes.
Don't get caught in the hallway. Okay, well, that's the main thing I wanted to, the first thing I wanted to do is make sure everybody was included. We're not trying to leave anybody out. And so, Dan, I'm gonna look to you for help with the inclusion of everyone that's,
I'm on it.
all right, good. And if you hear anything from anybody else besides my office, I want to know about this issue, not about everything else, but about this issue because I want to be able to address it. And I don't know what I don't know that's going around out there. So please help me with that. That way everybody hears the same information and is able to move forward the same. So there's several things that we're going to talk about today. And the reason I'm waiting a little bit is because Rachel is printing out the last bit of information. Hopefully it'll be here soon. But what we're going to talk about today is we're going to go through thank you. We're going to go through a timeline. We're going to go through, thank you. We're going to go through a timeline. We're going to go through, I have a map. I have different forms that maybe were signed. Yeah, thank you so much. I want to get you all to sign around to make sure that we have your contact information. Also, we have, this is online. This is a thick document, but so we just printed out one page on here that has come up. And that is, the one page is the debt that's been issued at the, for District 4. And I'm going to call it Road District 4, District 4. It's the same thing. Somerset Hills. There is a Somerset Hills 3. That's not you. That's on the other side of 240, County Road 245. Well, with the corner there where the church is going to go in. And then a map that's got both districts on it. So this is a packet that I hope everybody will take home and you can digest that. So we'll hand that out. We'll also send it to you electronically so that you can send it out to your neighbors in your neighborhood. Okay, as the rep. So we're gonna go over the timeline and you can, I'm gonna talk it through and then we're going to, I'll give you the sheets. I'll give you the pieces of paper and you can look at it, but so you can kind of focus on what I'm saying. And the other thing before we leave today, I want to make sure that we have heard all of the issues, but also what we can address today. And there's some things that we don't have all the information today, and we'll talk about that as we go through. Yes, ma'am. Tell me your name again. I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's Cindy.
Cindy. Thank you, Cindy.
I've been called better. I've been called worse.
Okay.
I think I would like to add to your agenda item a desired outcome.
Yeah.
I mean,
You bet.
rather than just an information broadcast to us today, I would like for us to add for some desired outcomes and action plans going forward.
That's the end of the discussion. We will talk about that before we're through. Yeah. By the way, does anybody have to leave? I'm here for the duration. Chocolate, I'm here.
What's the duration?
Well, I'm hoping starting at 3, we can be through by 5, but if we need to stay longer, I'll stay till we're here.
Need to be real, I need to leave at 4:30. I thought the meeting was from 3 to 4:30 and
That's perfect. That's why I'm asking. Some people might have other appointments and we're going to get through as much as we can. Whatever, if you have to leave and we're still talking about something, we'll try to get the information out to you as we wrap it up and summarize and get it out. Okay. So I want to talk through the timeline of the district. There have been several questions about how did we get here? How did you end up in a road district and not all of Sun City? And so I'm going to stand up. So I just feel bad that I can't see everybody's face and if you can see me. So I'm going to talk you through this and then y'all are welcome to ask questions, but if you could just let me get through the whole thing and then we'll talk about the timeline of how we got here. So in January of 2008, and by the way, I came into office, in full disclosure, I came in November of 2006. Okay, it was a special election. I had to run again in 2008, and then I got back on my cycle because I run when the president runs. So anyway, the timeline is in 2008. Williamson County Commissioners Court sets public hearing for February 12th of 2008 to abolish Somerset Hill Road District 1 and 2 and establish 3 and 4. So before my time, this area had been set up as 1 and 2. Okay, but it got changed to 3 and 4 because I believe it's because, and Julie's been here since Moses. And so, literally, what, 30 something years?
2 years.
There you go. So she's a historian. She's going to be here to set me straight on anything I might say wrong. But it was set up originally because the developer, Somerset developer, wanted to develop a certain area. And one of the ways that, just like a municipal utility district that you live in, MUD, and we have a lot of them in Williamson County, the developer can get paid back for certain things because they're going to go in and spend a lot of money. And that's one way to do it. And it sets a specific area, a district. And here's Rachel with a bunch of sheets, paper. And that's what happened here. Okay. Somerset Hills Road 3 and 4 were created to help with infrastructure by reimbursing developers for their investment in certain infrastructure. Now, infrastructure, I'm just going over the timeline right now. I'm going to pass out packets if we have enough. I hope we have. There are certain specific things that can get reimbursed by this district. And they mainly include the larger roads, Rocky Hollow, part of Rocky Hollow, that's in the district, Pertinalis, Silver Spur, Ronald Reagan, those roads right there are examples of what could get reimbursed. So the internal roads that go straight to your house are not included. All right. So that's one thing that it's set up. It also set the maximum amount of the $70 million that everybody is interested in. And we'll talk about that fully today. The original developer planned a neighborhood with commercial property adjacent. So when they came to us and said, we want to build, and actually it was already done before I came into office, but when I took office, I learned that they were going to build from Williams Drive to 195 of Ronald Reagan, the lanes that are there now, not the ultimate, but the lanes that are there now. And they were going to develop this area called District 4. And it was going to have the concept that I was understanding, and probably the rest of the court, was that there would be commercial along Ronald Reagan. It's going to be a bigger road, and usually that's where you would put commercial. You would then have houses. Of course, it's a lot of acres, so you would have houses in there too, but it wasn't just like that. And in this timeline, we talk about Avery Ranch Road. That's another road district down in the Avery, where Avery Ranch is in Round Rock, Austin area. Just beside Brushy Creek. They had the same situation, but they did create commercial property along Farmer there. And because of that, the valuation wasn't so hard on the homes. Okay. And without commercial, it's all on the homes. That's you. Okay, thank you, Rachel. I need a package. Yeah, you bet. So in February, the court had set up February 12, 2008, and 8 things happened that day. And you could see items 1 through 8. There were public hearings. There were 5 speakers for the public hearing. There was a motion to abolish Somerset Hills 1 and 2. And then there was another public hearing, no speakers, and Somerset Hills 3 and 4 were established. There was a public hearing on a bond election for Somerset Hills 3 and 4. Those are the 8 things that happened on that February of 08. In March of 08, a public hearing for the District 3 establishing that are held, no speakers. In item 2, you'll see that motion to approve an order calling an election for a bond election. District 3 is smaller. It has a cap of 35 million. So if you hear that, it's different than yours. Yours is 70, yours is 35. Your area is bigger, and again, ought to be going to be set up a little bit differently than it ended up being. All right, you can keep going. Item 3, there was a public hearing, and then item 4, a motion to call an election for the max, setting a max at 70 million, not to exceed 70 million. In May of 08, elections were held, and I know this has come up in discussion on Tuesday. There were 2 votes for District 3 to establish it and 1 vote for District. Now, we're going to talk about that for a second. Your MUD was set up the same way, and all MUDs are set up the same way. Districts are set up the same way. A developer that wants to establish a district, a special district, owns the property, or his conglomerate of investors own the property, usually a limited partnership. And they will go in and put a trailer, or if there's a house, somebody will live in that house. And that one person will vote. If you go to any election, any results of any election that establishes a district, a special district like this, you're going to see the same thing. And I looked up to see how many, if you just go to our tax assessor's website, it's got a list of all the taxing entities because he collects for all of them. And you'll see how many different special districts there are. They're all established the same. Is that the best approach when one person gets to decide for that developer and then people move in and get to pay it? I'm not here to say I support that. I'm here to tell you that's the legal way. And that's the way the state has established it. Is it better to wait until all the houses move in and then vote on it? Well, first of all, they start getting paid back before y'all moved in, or they started establishing their expenses. But also, how many people in here would vote for that? That's right, no one. And that's why it is done the way it is done. I'm not saying I'm a proponent of it. I'm telling you the facts. And everything I say today is based on my experience or my knowledge. And if I'm wrong on anything, I'm happy to acknowledge that. But that's the way it works. And the state has allowed it to do. And I'll even tell you this. Your mud or any mud that's an in-city mud are doing that because they want the utilities typically. But the state has made it really, really easy for there to be very few, if any, rules on their development. Because the last two sessions have been, the first one was it's only voluntary annexation. So that rock quarry that's might go in across Ronald Reagan can go in because they just say, you can't annex us. Well, but you're in our ETJ, so we can control what you do. Well, the next session, they changed that and they said, with a simple letter to the city secretary and 45 days of a wait period, you can exclude your property from the ETJ of Georgetown or any city. And what that does is that removes the rules. Then it kicks it to the county. We do not have zoning authority. The state has not given us that, and we can only act on things the state specifically gives us to do. So I wanted y'all to be aware of that because it's not like we can go in and tell a mud not to happen. We do ask them to do certain things now to help us, but we can't keep them from being established. Okay, I want that to soak in. Sharon, yes.
Go actually to the county commissioners and they did vote to approve it. Did you not have asked for other things? Because you knew that there were going to be people moving into these houses. And there is a stipulation that the county commissioners get to look at it and say, is this in the best interest of the district? And so if it's not in the best interest of the district, I think you don't have to approve it because you do have to vote on it. So there's ability to vote yes or no, right? Is that right?
So we did vote on it, right? We did vote on it. But as I explained, my understanding was that it was going to be like an Avery Ranch Road district where there'd be commercial to offset it. And the bulk of the come on in. Hey, how are you doing? See you, Joe. I don't know if there's a chair. We'll go get another chair. Here, you can just spin that one around and I'm standing up the whole time anyway. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. I need everybody to sign here. So if y'all haven't signed, keep it going around. Or do we getting everybody to sign? Make sure everybody signed it.
We've already done one sheet.
We want to make sure we have a good contact list. Thank you. Appreciate it. So anyway, at the time, we thought the commercial was going to go in along Reagan. And, you would think it would, being a major roadway, really from far out of, Austin to Florence, to Gerald and beyond. That didn't happen. Okay. And some things happened and we're going to talk about what happened. So let me keep going. On the second page of this page, you'll see that the county began construction. We had plans to build Ronald Reagan, and the developer, remember me saying the developer was supposed to build Ronald Reagan from Williams to 195. And the developer went bankrupt. And because of that, and because of the magnitude of Sun City, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was a good idea to just stop Reagan at Williams Drive and not give you a back door. So I moved money around to build it. But I needed that money to build what originally it was for. And so we entered into the road, we changed the road district, amended it so that the county could get paid back, so that we could put the money back to where it was originally intended. Okay? And that happened, as you can see on here. In the meantime, the developer, is bankrupt. The land is sitting there, and Pulte, Sun City, is building. Okay? And all this time, they're still building. Your area is a new area. They're still building in around where y'all live. And they might be buying other property. It won't necessarily be in the road district, but people keep coming. So they kept building, and they bought the land. And again, when they did that, the homes, the concept of commercial along there got changed to now it's homes. And again, it's in the city. The city annexed it, and some of it, and it's in there. Do you have your opinion? And it's in there. Yes, sir.
Do you know when the date when Pulte purchased that property from that bank?
I have it on here of 14, July 3rd of 14. That may or may not be 100% all of it. I don't know exactly if they bought it in tranches, but
that's when they bought the biggest piece of it, but not necessarily all parts that are in the district.
They may have kept adding to it as they kept selling homes, because I'm not sure that. So my understanding, if my memory serves, Pulte is a big ranch. Pulte bought some, and then they sold some, and then they bought it back. Okay, and so this part ended up being in that area that they bought back. So all right, Somerset, go down to the end of the second page. In September of 2020, Somerset Hills has their first debt issuance, and there's a page in your packet that looks like it's page 15. If you were to go print this report, it's page 15. So it's whatever page you've got on there that's got page.
No, I'm saying that
Some do.
It looks like this. It's a chart. It's got a table at the top.
she's the only one that's labeled.
This is the debt issuance. Somebody has asked, well, why, if it's opened in 08, if we voted to do that and it started in 08, why did you wait so long to issue? Well, it's because all this time it's sitting in raw land. And there had to be, in order to sell bonds, you have to have value on the ground in order to assess to be able to pay back the bonds. So there were costs occurring, but there wasn't enough value on the ground in order to sell bonds in order to pay back the specified debt. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's one of the things that has come up in our discussion. Yes, sir.
So the bonds that were issued, though, they are general obligation bonds that do require an election.
Got it.
They do require an election in order to sell general issue bonds.
The question is, do the bonds that were sold require an election?
So no, the bonds that were sold, each tranche of bonds that are sold that you'll see on this sheet when we get you a copy, we apologize for that being left out. Those do not require an election. The election was held back in 08 that called the election, just like we do a road bond election at the county level for 2023 bonds. And then it can take us 3 to 5 years to sell those bonds. So,
just for clarification, again, we're going to get questions in our neighborhood.
Sure.
On the road district financial report, it states general obligation bonds require voter approval at a public election before issuance.
Which was the election that happened in 2008. That election.
So it's the position, the issuance, the election for that issuance
Yes, sir.
was done in May of
It
2000.
already occurred and now we're just
selling
selling
it
bonds.
as we have value that allows us to sell the bonds. Judge, did you have
I
something to
was
add?
just gonna say, because I've got a lot of experience with this, so to approve an amount, the voters approve an amount, in this case, it's voters, in this case, for 70 million. So it gives the county so 70 million
The district.
in bond, the district, 70 million in bonds when the time is right. So you sell it when you need it, you sell it when you have debt capacity, but you don't sell more than you need. Like, for example, we wouldn't sell all 70 million because then we're paying interest on 70 million debt that we can't pay off in a timely manner. So that's why they just did 45.
That's why they're doing tranches. Yes, sir.
So I'm Richard Clarkson. So the one thing that, going back to my old life, right, is in order to sell the bond for a road improvement or for any sort of improvement, you have a conceptual layout of what work is going to be performed and what it looks like. So you've got a diagram as in 2008 of what Ronald Reagan and these other roads that you were talking about were going to look like. Is that correct?
At that time, yes, sir. There was something that was part of the development agreement at that time.
That's available for us to see.
And I believe.
Well, Ronald Reagan, we had the plans for Ronald Reagan.
2-lane, 4-lane, 6-lane, 8-lane, what was the?
The only intent for the district was the first 2 lanes.
So that came up in another discussion. I definitely want to address that. So thank you for that question. For this discussion, the only thing that was supposed to get paid back by the district is what is on the ground right now, the lanes that are on right now. The original concept of Ronald Reagan was that it would be 200 feet of right of way and ultimately, as needed, when needed, 6 lanes, curb and gutter. Right now it's got ditches for drainage, but we would fill all that space in and it would be 6 lanes, curb and gutter with some turning movements. In the meantime, a bazillion people have moved here very quickly. And we realized as we were looking at our long range transportation plan for the whole county, that Reagan, especially with the development that y'all have seen south of you, okay, is not adequate. And if we had just built it, because the previous court, you can imagine what they got grief from getting 200 feet. 200 feet was a huge amount of right of way when nothing was out there. And now we see what's out there. And we realized that we needed a bigger space. So I'm explaining Ronald Reagan because I want to make sure that nobody goes away thinking that this district is going to pay for anything more on Ronald Reagan. It's not.
We have no confidence in that statement.
Well, let me finish my comment and then you can ask the question, Cindy.
Okay.
So, all right. So originally the lanes that are there now are in the district and that is laid out and that is what got reimbursed. But the 23, well, let me back up. In the changes to Ronald Reagan, as you're going to see south of 3405, we're building it right now. We're building the other set of frontage roads. So the lanes that are there now will serve as frontage roads. Right now, they're 2-way. When we build the other set of lanes, they will be 1-way, one direction. And then ultimately, main lanes will get put in when they're needed, if they're ever needed. Okay? But what we didn't want is light after light after light and nobody getting anywhere, taking forever. That was the way. How many of y'all have lived here more than 30 years? Yeah, me. And in the area for a whole lot longer than that. Yeah, I saw you, Sharon. 183 was like that. It was light after light after light. There were bumper stickers about it, how horrible it was. So thankfully we had the right of way and we put in, and now they're putting in 183A. But the rest of Reagan, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to tell you, I don't care what you're hearing from anybody else. The district cannot pay for more than what's listed. Okay, as a road. And the 23 bonds that we have that y'all approved, that countywide, even if you didn't vote for it, it got approved, are building the other set of frontage roads. And so I'll just go ahead and give you my Reagan update. From Williams Drive to County Road 245, we call that D1. just because I wanted letters on these roads because they were too confusing with all these numbers. And then from 245 to SH 195 is D2. We just got money for D2 from Campo. And it's going to delay the project a little bit, but we're going to get $20 million. I couldn't turn that away. And then we're going to start the other very soon, like in months. Okay. And that is doing it. This road district is not going to pay for anything in the future of Ronald Reagan. Yes, ma'am.
So let me kind of mirror back some of your logic, because in theory, that's good news. So when you look at the map for the road district and you look at the definition of the road district, Ronald Reagan as a road is clearly in our district. If you go to the specifics that you've listed, where district money can be spent, clearly there's still going to be invoices for part of the road and above and beyond, probably some landscaping work, something else associated with the build out. Therefore, I'm just doing some public school math. I find it hard to believe that we need to touch anywhere close to another $40 million or $42 million that's left in this bond to cover any existing expenditures for the original purpose of the district.
Cindy, we're going to talk about that thoroughly today. As much information as I have, I'm going to share with you. If your fear is that the 23 road bonds or any future road bonds are going to be used and paid on the backs of your home, that's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. First of all, there's not enough value in the road district to accommodate that. It's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you, it's not happening now. It's not going to happen in the future. Yes, sir.
So the reason I asked for the original layout of what we're talking about is then why then is Rocky Hollow Creek and Silver Spur and other roads included? And if they weren't envisioned originally?
It was the type of road at the time when it was set up. And this happens with other MUDs and other districts. They're not going to know that it's going to be Rocky Hollow and it's going to go right here and it's going to be a horseshoe. They didn't know that. They put in the specifics of what type of roads. In other words, it had to be big enough that it was moving enough traffic. It's not your internal little street that gets to your house.
They're referred to as arterials, and these definitions are specifically laid out in the transportation code.
Okay, but that was in the original bond.
The original definition of.
That was laid out in the words, and I guess that's what I was trying to get to, is there was a layout of what was going to be done and what that encompassed, that 70 million bond would encompass. And we have that information, correct? You have that information.
District agreements, in those developer agreements, and it's defined in that bond election and in the transportation.
And that.
I cannot release a reimbursement
Without
or
that.
anything that is not defined in those documents and in the transportation.
And let me go even more. So a part of the road, like all of Rocky Hollow is not included, throughout Sun City. Pertinalis the same way. So it's very specific to the district as well. Even a pond, even a detention pond or some feature like that. We have an engineer that we pay to get down in the weeds on that and say, this portion of that pond can be included in the district. This portion cannot. We get that specific about it. Okay. All right. So yes, sir. Go ahead, Joe.
Pay for the extension of Sunset Boulevard to North.
Sure. So where Sun City Boulevard ends right now, if you look to the right, like toward 195, you got a bridge there. Okay. By the way, the road originally was going to stop at Sun City Boulevard, which means it tapers down to 2 lanes, which means it wasn't going to go to 195 and y'all were going to have no light. When I saw that, I go, oh, that is not going to happen. I go, that is just crazy. So we have extended it. Again, moving money off of other projects that ended, thankfully, where I had the money to put to that project. Now we got Campo money, which is great. But that extension going north will be paid by the developer. So it is part of our strategic plan, long-range strategic plan, not you developer, but the Yearwood tract and Rock Bluff that's north of that are being bought by the same same company, and they are putting in the road. That's going to be a major arterial from Reagan up into that neighborhood, and it will then connect over to County Road 245 also, because Rock Bluff is, I'm sorry, I don't have a map of that because I didn't know we were going to talk about it, but Rock Bluff is a very large development, and it will go all the way from Reagan. Well, Yearwood's track goes kind of as a rectangle, and then Rock Bluff goes up and it spans over to 245. So there will be a big road going through there, like a Sun City Boulevard type road, but the developer will pay and not you.
That is not part of the district, and
Right.
that developer is not eligible for any reimbursement in this district.
That's right.
And the way that we narrowed Reagan down, if I could finish that thought real quickly, that was referred to in the amended development agreement when the county asked to add themselves as a developer so that we could recoup the funds for what the developer would have been reimbursed for. We refer to that in the agreement as original sunk cost. All that's eligible on Reagan is original sunk costs. That has already been fully reimbursed to the county and certified.
That's part of the debt that's been issued.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am, Cindy.
you can find some of these public records with this information.
You can make public information requests to my office. The agreements are also in the Commissioner's Court minutes. But if you would like to contact my office and go through the county attorney's office and make a public information request, I can get you copies of the agreements, as well as I know that Ms. Kobe's office has access to those agreements. You can make requests.
I'll do one better. Just contact my office like I asked everybody to do. Go through me, ask what you want to ask for, and we'll get it for you. Or if it's too big of a document, you don't, to send to you, we'll at least give you a link and you can go read it and print off what you want. I want everything is accessible to you, but I want to make sure that you have it, but also your folks you represent have it. Okay, so we'll make sure you get it. Julie's office has a process that they go through. An information request is that process, but I'll cut to the chase for you. Yes, sir.
Get to a point she was making,
About the 70 million?
well, about this stretch of Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
There's gonna, at some point, have to be improvements made to that road. It's a dangerous road.
To Ronald Reagan? Well, we're hoping when we add our lanes, it'll separate traffic.
You're pulling in that from Sun City onto Ronald Reagan, it's automatic, it's 65 miles an hour. I think somebody's been injured already. So there's gonna have to be probably originating lanes built at some point for safety reasons.
There's also going to be a light there.
To her point, for those types of improvements made, and it's in the district, so pulling out of Silver Spur, and you need a lane to merge into a 65-mile-an-hour traffic is going to probably at some point have to be.
Not to be paid for by the district. It's going to be paid by our bonds. And if y'all are curious about our county bonds, if y'all are curious about what we're actually building, we can give you that information too. There will be a light at Sun City Boulevard in Ronald Reagan. There's not one now, there's a blinking one, but there'll be a traffic light, a stopping movement.
Who's paying for that?
The 23 road bond, Cindy.
Good.
I'm telling you, I'm not trying to pull one over on you. I'm going to say it one more time. Your district is not paying for any more improvements on Ronald Reagan. Period. The end.
So
The end. And if anybody tells you otherwise or throws that out, please direct them to me or tell them big fat no. She said big fat no. And you know what? Y'all elect me or not. Okay. And I know that. And I've never done anything but be honest with you. But somebody's telling you the wrong thing, or it's a fear factor of seeing Ronald Reagan and thinking, oh my gosh, y'all, we're going to be paying for this, the rest of it. It's just not true.
I'm not here to make any accusations.
Okay.
I just left San Antonio, Texas. I served in the government for 37 years, so I know a little bit about how things work. What I can't find is the information that can distinguish the nuances when you see it, when someone visually sees a map. And then
You see Reagan on there.
and you see Reagan, and
Sure.
see a county map. So I'm not here to disparage anybody's character. I'm saying,
Yeah.
where can I find this data that gives my residents confidence that that's not going to happen in the
Through the sunk costs. And we'll get the
When we
information
give
because
that
it's sunk
agreement
costs
to
we're talking
you,
about.
you will see that referred to as the county only being eligible for reimbursement from original sunk costs. And the remainder of the roads that
Just what's
Pulte
there
is doing that are major arterials, no driveways are eligible. Limited landscaping is eligible. limited utilities are eligible. This is why I have an engineer on contract that works for the district. He doesn't work for the developer, and he interacts with the developer and the developer's engineer to clear all of those eligible
And
expenses.
push back on anything that gets put in there and listed down that shouldn't be.
We literally count streetlights. We literally count manholes. All that stuff happens. I want to reassure you of that.
So I don't want to hijack this meeting, then I'm going to stop.
Sure.
So I'm trying to follow the logic now of money spent, invoices outstanding, and the cap at 70 million. And I'm struggling, as you give us more information, I'm struggling to see how we need to spend all this additional money.
You're making an assumption, and we're gonna get to that, but I want to lay the predicate before we talk about the 70 million. But believe me, before you leave, we're gonna talk about the 70 million.
And that's
Your-
where
your
I was going, is we got the 70 million, right? And we've sold 25 million?
Roughly 25, yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's just use 25, which means there's money left over. And the concern in my neighborhood is, can they sell the rest of that? And then we're on the hook for that.
Yeah, all right, so
That's-
let's talk about the 70 million. There was a cap set. And unless y'all want to vote for more, it's not gonna ever go more.
Who said it?
It was set originally when the district was set up.
District.
That one
One
district,
voter.
that one
Yes, ma'am.
voter said it to
Actually,
seven.
that's what-
And that's an estimate
Same
on
thing
how,
with months.
yeah, but it's an estimate of how much they thought it might be. And they weren't sure how long it would take. So that's not unusual probably to set a high cap. Okay. Now, hold on. Let me finish this concept because I really want to get to this because this is the heart of the matter. So we, as the judge said, no district, school, county, city sells bonds, even if they're authorized. Okay, y'all authorized $825 million of road bonds this last in the 23 bond election. That's what our road bonds are. But we have not sold all of that. And we're not going to sell it until we need it because we're not going to want to start paying interest on that before time that we need the money. The same thing on this. So, and because not only that, but there's not enough value on the ground to sell 70 million. And so when Sharon and I started talking about this, that was the question was, is there a way to reduce that down to a number that's less than 70? Would you be good with it? She asked me. And I said, well, I like the concept, but I've got to make sure that we get a number that's sustained, that's defensible because the debt, we have to pay legitimate cost. So I called Julie and I said, Julie, the goal would be to reduce the 70 million down to a number that would be legitimate, but less than what it is now. I'm for it. I'm for the concept, but you got to give me a good number because in order to do that, I need to go to the commissioner's court and explain to them why we're reducing this debt level. I'm here to say I am for reducing the 70 million. And I believe we will. I have to take it to court. And I only got one more vote in here in this room because two of us only can talk about an issue. So I can't talk about it to anybody else or it's a walking quorum. But unless we're doing it in court, in public setting, of course. But before I take it to commissioner's court, I want to make sure that I have a legitimate number that I know can cover legitimate costs. Now, I think y'all can appreciate that. So what Julie had told me, she said, okay, good. What we need to do is we need to get our engineer and we need to get Pulte, who would be they're the only ones left to get reimbursed. What are the actual costs that could get reimbursed? Okay. And then what is the value of capacity, debt capacity? And really the question to me is, what are the legitimate costs that could get reimbursed by this district? Because it may take a while to sell the debt to cover those, but there is a cap for that legitimate cost. And once we get that number, that's what we can take the number, the 70, and reduce it down. Yes, sir.
So if you said we're not going to pay for any more improvements from right beyond what's there now.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And what are these additional costs that
Yeah.
you'll need bonds to pay for?
Right. So, well, some of it has been waiting until there's enough value on the ground. They had already been incurred. There wasn't enough value on the ground in order to support the bonds.
So that money was spent.
It's already been spent.
By the developer.
That should be pretty easy to.
Well, some of that, in fact, and just so that y'all know, because I don't want anybody going, Kobe didn't tell me. Another tranche of debt is being sold this year to cover costs, the legitimate costs that have to be reimbursed by law. So another, was it $4.5 million will be sold. You'll see that. And it'll be sold when fall, August, there you go. And so that's to cover costs that have already been spent, money that already been spent for legitimate costs.
What are those costs?
Yeah.
Use the money.
They're costs associated with Pulte. Again, as I mentioned, the county has been
Hold on a
reimbursed.
second. What we need is like what they are, and we can tell them like
That's
what's
right,
like,
fixing the red.
yeah. And so is that in the packet?
Yes.
Rachel, is this
There's
colored
sheets in
packet
the
in the
packet of
packet?
what we.
Yeah,
reimbursed
if you look in your packet for that
There's a-
colored sheet right
And I'm
there.
sorry for the finance font.
Yeah,
You know,
it's really,
call it
it's really,
science.
sorry about that.
But this is the spreadsheet. This spreadsheet shows you all of the debt that we've issued up at the top. That's called revenue. And down at the bottom, the expenses we paid through January of this year. Okay. And what we are still working through are costs associated with the construction of Silver Spur, Ridgetop Vista Phase A, and Pedernales Falls. And there's one other road, and I apologize that I can't recall the name of it off the top of my head right now.
But we'll get it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
This is for road construction.
It's road construction.
And related things.
And
like
related things
utilities.
that are eligible. So if there are,
It's already completed.
yes, sir.
So just like, why isn't it easy to just say this is?
So we are working through all those invoices. They are massive, okay? These roads started getting built some time ago. Unfortunately, because of the delay in being able to have value out there was no interaction. I can't force that interaction. There was no interaction between my office and the developer to make sure that they were gathering all of the proper documentation. Can you prove that you made payment? Okay. Show me where you wired money to your contractor. Where are all your plans? And so we're playing catch up. Okay. And I don't have the staff, quite honestly, chase these districts on a daily basis. So when it.
You have a deadline when they have to get to
we
it?
are working
Well, they want their
through
money as
that.
soon as possible. And so it's on them to provide the
And-
documentation
Yeah.
because they won't get reimbursed until they do. So,
In
it's on
order
them.
to
I mean, they
answer
want to.
Commissioner Kobe's office, my office hopes to have everything wrapped up this summer.
So
Do you know what that number is?
Fernandez was built like 6 years ago.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that.
So none of these roads have been paid for.
No, ma'am.
We haven't paid any money on any of these roads.
Well,
Some monies
I
and
don't
it's
say none.
listed on these pages.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, because I thought I had seen all these roads already paid for.
They're not completely paid for, no, ma'am.
part of some things have been paid for as the tranches would indicate, but some has not.
And I will just tell you selfishly, from a staffing perspective in my office, as an example, we could only issue 4.5 million this summer. I instructed my staff to identify, along with the engineer, $4.5 million worth of eligible expenses.
And then wait,
This is
time out.
not
That's
all-
because there's not enough value on the ground to issue more.
Right. And so it was divide and conquer because this is not the only thing my staff does all day long.
Sure.
Hopefully you can appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
These are internal
Tell
roads.
me your name. I'm sorry.
Drabla.
Doug. Thank you, Doug.
These are, and this is strictly for road construction. Okay, if you ask Pulte, why do you need to be reimbursed for this?
Yeah.
They're eligible.
Why I'm asking that
reimbursed.
question, why I'm asking that question. I work for a land developer in Texas, my first job, actually. In our land, these are large master plan communities in the city of Houston, created muds. I do know what typically, at least in my experience, what developers pay for and do not. Road construction, all internal roads, 100% paid by us as the developer.
So these are not just internal roads. These are not roads that have driveways on them. These are roads that are major arterials, north, south, east, west. They're connectors. So that is what makes them eligible according to the transportation code that defines what a road district is.
But is it a negotiation between the Commissioner's Court and Pulte what you're going to get reimbursed for?
Well, that would have been, if they had owned the property originally and we were negotiating with them, but they came in and bought property that already had vested rights.
Yeah. And if they need to develop it, they have to pay for those roads.
Well, but they bought a vested rights. They bought property that already had vested rights to get reimbursed for certain things. So, I mean, out of the goodness of their heart, they might have, but my guess is it went into their financial portfolio and how they.
Financial model that they have to pay for.
It would have been in their model. Yeah. I mean, they have paid for the rest of Sun City. I get that. And I understand. And that's why that's why this is so hard, because y'all are part of a much larger neighborhood and you're the only people in it. I completely understand that it wasn't the way it was intended originally. Yes, sir.
I have a two-part. Sure. If I heard things correctly, you're going to issue a bond for $4.5 million in August, but you're aware of additional costs. So if nothing else happens, there'll be a bond beyond this will be issued. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, sir.
That's right. And I want to make sure everybody hears what he just said, because I don't want anybody coming back going, Kobe lied, Kobe didn't say it. There will be future tranches of debt sold until we get what legitimately can be paid for, reimbursed, done.
My second.
So I just want to make sure everybody hears that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I risk trying to speak for maybe several people here. What else is done? I mean, what else is there to do? It seems like
the problem is not what else is there to do. The problem boils down to the ability to issue the bonds to reimburse them. There is not enough of what we call bonding capacity. There's not enough value on the ground out there to multiply by 29 cents, which was limited by the district court, which is the commissioner's court. Cannot go above a 29-cent tax rate. So your tax rate is not going to go above 29 cents. We have to model when we go sell these bonds. We sell 25-year debt for these districts. What are the principal and interest payments that can be afforded from that 29 cents, along with the debt that we're already servicing? So we can only sell so much at a time. So it's going to take us some time to pay this developer back.
Can I put that in plain English?
Yes, ma'am. It's your background. Perhaps you can say it in a different way.
I'm going to try it this way. Pulte built roads. I don't begrudge that they built roads. In theory, they deserve reimbursement for under this law.
Contractually,
under this contract. So really what you're telling us is until all homes are completed in the Sun City developments currently under construction.
Specifically in the district.
Not just Sun City, but in the district.
Just all the neighborhoods that are left, by the way. The bond will not be 100% reimbursed because the value will not be on the ground.
That's right. You can't sell the bond.
Really, it's going to be in this. Pulte, in theory, is scheduled to complete construction in 2028. So for the next 3 years, 2 years, use my public school math, next 2 years, we could get additional bonds. You're telling us $4.5 million this year, could be more next year.
It will be.
Based on valuation of completed homes at 29 cents per $100.
As they add more value and put more homes on the ground, and as any property values that go up, escalation of that too. But let me say one more thing on this too.
So I'm not false.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure I'm putting it in plain speak.
No, that's a true statement. Okay. So, but this is the deal. Your taxes that you pay are a function of two things: the tax rate at 29 cents and the value of your home, not how much debt we've sold. That's how long it will go, but it's not how much you're paying. So somebody came to court, I don't remember who said it, y'all, it was one of y'all, great, and said, if we issued all 70 million, it would double my payment. That's not true unless your house value goes up in order to do that. So it's a rate times your house value. That's it, not how much debt we've sold.
And there's at least one other neighborhood that we are trying to get information. I was finally able here in the last couple of weeks to get some contact information for that developer from the city of Georgetown, because again, this is inside the city limits. So the county is not necessarily involved in the development of what's happening within the district. And this is a group called Georgetown Patio Homes. As I understand it, the roads are there. Their roads are not eligible. That developer is not eligible for any reimbursement, but that puts additional value in the district that could potentially help us get the rest of these bonds issued and or begin, at some point, reducing that tax rate down the road. But we don't have any data yet. I don't know if they have rooftops out there yet.
And one thing, because y'all are asking about what's getting paid back, Julie, can we give that to them as far as like categories of things that got paid back? Because they're concerned about Reagan. The thing about Reagan is now that we got the Campo money, if you look at your map that we have in your packet, it's got the pink and the green, I think, or if it doesn't, it's not colored. Is it colored? It is. Okay, excellent. So the green is District 3, and that's County Road 245 with this little pocket of green right up here being the church. So your pickleball court is right over there. Okay, the one that's over there.
Yeah.
That part of Reagan back to Williams Drive was not paid by your district. It's paid by District 3, and you can see that green line. That's Ronald Reagan. The only part of Reagan was from 245 basically over to 195 where it ends there. There's not any more. I mean, y'all can see the expenses that we're paying.
And they're on this spreadsheet.
And they're on monthly when we pay,
We don't pay them monthly.
no, but when we do that, we have a road district that comes up for all the road districts. We have a separate agenda, but you're welcome to see all the different things that we pay. We're not trying to hide any of that. If you don't agree or believe what we're saying here today.
Well, you've done essentially what I'll call forensics or an audit on the construction so in other words, you said Pendernalis, we agree it was completed 6 years ago, but you're just getting the bond now. Is there a forensic calculation of what has been done so that we can anticipate what is still outstanding?
Yes.
That's what we're doing this summer, Cindy, so that we can get the number down. Yes, ma'am.
The 4.5 million you're going to be selling in August or whatever we're done. Is that part of the 70 million?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Basically whittling away.
We are. I mean, well, yes, but we're still a great way from 70.
Yeah.
We're at 25. We're going to sell 20. We're going to sell 4 more. But what we're trying to get.
Waiting for expenses.
But again, your
We're not
tax that
waiting. Let me clarify.
You're waiting on the value.
waiting
We're
for the
waiting on
value.
the value.
That's right. That's right. It's not the expenses so much, except for maybe your area. And, I'm not really sure about that, and we can look into it. This is where he lived. You live over here, close to.
Just be on the line.
They're right, in the white.
So you're
Oh, in-
actually not in the
oh,
district. You're in the middle.
We are paying back this bond, stuff that has been paid years ago. Are we paying them interest? on
No,
it?
sir. No, sir.
Incurred. We're not paying them interest for waiting for the district to be able to afford it. No. Yes, sir.
So simplistically, most of both costs are probably already done, for the most part. There might be some, if we can figure that out. Question on the north side of Reagan, will there be any of, you talked about one road is going to go around back to 245, that's not covered.
It's not in the
That
district.
neighborhood that's on the north,
It's not
do
covered.
they have any streets that are eligible for this?
I understand what you're saying. On the north, if you were to look at your map, you can kind of tell where Reagan is through here. There's some pink on the top side, the north side. That's not part of, it is part of the district, but it's not part of Sun City. And there was a road that was intended to go north and connect up to that Yearwood and Rock Bluff area I talked about, which is all this area up in here. But it did not happen. It got cut off by the city. It didn't happen. So I don't believe there are any costs up there.
Likely not, right?
I don't think there's anything that would qualify.
Those homes will be adding to this value.
They will be.
I heard
They will
there's a
be.
rumor out there that these are leased out properties.
That's what I'm trying to get to
So
the bottom of.
okay, who
But whoever.
But
there-
somebody's gonna pay it. The owns it.
the ground? So
Yes,
are you gonna be in that?
Yes.
Okay. Or the owner?
They're in it with you.
The owner, whoever is paying the property tax bill,
Yes, okay, so they're gonna be paid. So I think my last question, and I'll shut up, is the existing homes that Pulte has that are not closed, are they paying this tax?
Pulte is
If they
paying,
own the lots?
and I'm not gonna be the expert in this. I don't pretend to understand everything at the appraisal district, even in my 32 years of working for the county, okay? But yes, as they develop those lots, and Commissioner probably understands this better than I do, or perhaps the judge does, but as those lots develop, if you look at this report, and these financial reports are published on my website, on the county website, okay? If you look at those, you will see that Pulte is a taxpayer in the district.
Right.
Okay, and they are paid on those homes until they
yes.
sell them. They are paying.
They're
on
getting
those
money,
vacant
they're
lots.
getting reimbursed for certain things, but they're also paying tax until they sell that home. And
If
you
there's
move
a
in,
partial
Dawn, and
payment
then
for
you start paying Melanie.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
you got it. No, I'm glad. That was a great question. Yes, sir. Right here.
I'm just trying to think through this. So I understand that the tax rate is set at 29 cents. Okay. The question is just how long is that going to go on?
2050.
Before there can be any tax relief. The impression I'm getting, it will not be in my lifetime.
No, it won't.
And that's the problem. It's not the tax.
Not at
The
4
tax
million a
rate.
year.
I mean, our taxes are gonna go up, our property value, and that's gonna go up. But as they said yesterday, many people, and a lot of us are paying more than our county tax. And
That's because you don't have an exemption on this. We put in a sizable exemption. If you look on your tax statement, we have increased the exemption, so you pay less on your county taxes. I pay more I live in the city of Georgetown also. I pay more in my city tax than I do in my county tax, even though their rate is less, because a little bit, like, not very much, but it's a little bit less because our exemption is way better than theirs.
because I was under the impression thinking, well, more homes are gonna move in here. And so eventually our taxes may start on that part, might go down, but that's not gonna happen.
No.
I'm saying, I just want to.
That's why, tell me your name, I'm sorry.
Gordon.
Gordon, that's why I want to make sure that everybody goes away understanding what's really occurring,
There's no tax relief.
that you're not going to get a change in your, Kobe said that my taxes are going to go down and they didn't. It's a function of the rate that we're not changing, 29 cents, and the property value. Now, if your value goes down, y'all are all frozen, I'm assuming, by age.
I thought this didn't.
It doesn't, but I'm saying your city and county taxes are frozen. But this one is a function of your rate and your property value. That's what I just want to make the distinction. Yes, sir.
Follow up, so
Yeah.
when this was all approved by the commission, and Williamson County Commission, what kind of vetting or look at the fiscal ability of that developer to actually do what he said? They obviously agreed to give this money, but did anybody look at, can they actually stay in business to do this?
Well, he had built a lot of other things. He was a very successful developer until he got in trouble. And then, of course, what else happened in 8, 9? What happened in 8, 9, 10, and 8? The whole economy fell apart. And so that's the problem. Yes, ma'am, you have to go ahead.
Well, you said that you thought a lot of commercial development was going to go in there.
That was my understanding.
But when you realized that was not going to happen, why did y'all continue to
It was
go?
already set up.
But no bonds had been issued at that point.
Right, but it was already established. And so,
You
and
could have
we
abolished
couldn't
it.
keep Pulte from buying it. We couldn't. And so it was already established. And then some of the expenses had already been incurred. Well, and Pulte bought some of this land and started incurring more and had a vested right to get reimbursed. Yes, sir.
Like that, I guess I'm confused and I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna explain to my resident group.
Okay.
Why these bonds do need to be issued. Say they are required by some law that expenditures that Pulte is doing for this development, that they're required by the district to pay them? Yes. What I don't understand is why.
Violate the development agreement.
Who's the development agreement?
Well, the district was set up, it's just like a MUD. When a MUD is set up, there are vested rights to get reimbursed for certain things. Now, they're specific. They're not just like anything and everything, just like this. But later, when people start moving into that mud or any other district, they don't get to say, we don't want to pay this anymore.
I understand, but who are the entities involved in this agreement?
Oh, can you, we're gonna summarize Speedy. And
Who's the contract between? Who are the?
Yes.
So the original development agreement was between Centerra and back then they called themselves Somerset Development. The amended.
That was the bankrupt developer.
The developer who ultimately shut down that development, yes, and ultimately sold the land. I'm not going to use the word bankrupt because I don't know I had that firsthand knowledge. I know the commissioner staff has been doing a lot of research, so I'm not certainly saying she's wrong, but I'm not going to use that word. Okay. The whole development halted. Okay. And they sold portions of it off, and developers were in that district, which made them eligible. And when the county added themselves as a developer in order to get that portion of Reagan built, because we moved funds off of other road bond projects across the county in order to get that road built, then the developers who ultimately ended up purchasing the property, Pulte being one of them, was named as a developer.
But just like the guy on the north side, if there was not expenses that were eligible, he would get
So
reimbursed.
they just inherited this development agreement. There was no new negotiate. Hey, let's.
Actually have to be individually named. When we did the amendment to clean some things up, we named them because all the owners existed at the time, and we wanted to make sure that it was very clear. I may not be at the county forever. Anyone coming behind me, there would be no question as to who was eligible at that point.
So the development agreement from 2008, I read through it. I didn't see, and I'm not an attorney, but I didn't see anywhere in them that said it just vested to the next person that buys the land. In fact, it said it's no debt. The state law says that at that point, the road district could have been abolished because there was no debt that had been incurred to the district. And so I'm curious if it wasn't vested in the original development agreement, why do we feel like it automatically went to Pulte?
It's not a feel. We get advice from many attorneys on what we're required to do. I do not just randomly say, okay, this developer is eligible. When we determine who's eligible, all of that is run through several levels of legal counsel. Everything from bond counsel. So those of you who are familiar with some government terms, maybe worked in the mud world, worked in a school district, it sounds like, or the city perhaps, we have bond counsel that advise us on these things. And we have the attorneys who help write these road district agreements that advise us.
So there is no actual development agreement with Pulte.
Yes, ma'am, there is. There's an amended and restated agreement that names Pulte.
I know there's an amended and stated agreement, but there's no original document between the.
They now own the land that was eligible.
But it was set up when the district was created, it didn't list out.
It didn't
list them out. But it was because it was whoever owned the land had the vested right to be able to be reimbursed for certain things up to 70 million at 29 cents.
But you did know it wasn't going to be commercial because Pulte doesn't do that.
Well.
So it wasn't going to be commercial, so you knew it was.
Not in 08, we said.
No, I mean, when it was sold in 14.
Except that it had already been established. They bought a product that had already been set up.
As resident.
But, well, in 08, it got set up, and then later on, Pulte buys it back. So by the time they buy it back, the district had already been established, and they bought into a district. The thing is, I didn't have anything to do with Pulte buying it back, and the city didn't say, hey, and put commercial along here. They just said, homes everywhere is fine. And so it's not, I'm not suggesting that it's a wonderful scenario. I'm not suggesting that at all, but it was already vested before Pulte bought it back. Yes.
In 2008, when this bond package was agreed upon, it encumbered all of the land that was here.
That's right.
So it encumbered that land. That land is now encumbered by this bond.
By the district.
By the Somerset.
Authorization.
Yes.
Considered an authorization.
So by the bond authorization, back in 2008, all this land was encumbered. So this means that whoever buys, sells, or owns this land can use that encumbrance because it's like a deed restriction. You understand deed restrictions?
Developer agreement. If it's not needed to have a developer agreement, then why do they have?
Well, it was apparently legally, back in 2008, when it was set up, all this land was encumbered by this bond package. So when that original person went bankrupt, whoever bought this land was eligible to take over this reimbursement package.
Right.
Because the land was encumbered back in 2008 when it was originally set up. That's the way I'm understanding.
That is correct.
That's a great layman's term summation.
Thank you for putting it into common.
I get
speech.
caught up in financial
Well, I
terms.
think it was-
Thank you for that. Okay, yes, sir.
And Pulte asked for reimbursement. Do you audit what they ask for?
That is the whole thing we're talking about. We audit it down to the manhole, she said, and every little piece of it.
And can you confirm that, this question, I think, for the state auditor or the county auditor, can you confirm that 100% of the expenditures are associated with road construction?
And related expenses like, like certain things, manhole, utilities and
There
things like
have been
that.
some,
It's exclusively road.
there have been some landscape improvements that are eligible per state statute, okay? Specifically on Silver Spur.
So the district is paying for landscape,
And where the
improvements.
landscape is at the entrances.
trees and shrubs, and
A few trees and shrubs.
that's all developer.
We can
But
show
that's
them.
what this
Well, normally it
statute
would be.
allows. I can't deny it.
That stopped when the community association took over those streets.
Yes.
Not for that one.
What do you mean, the
The
community?
landscaping, generally, my understanding is the community association takes over the landscaping of those major streets after a certain.
Well, that's for
Maintenance.
maintenance.
We do not pay for maintenance.
Yeah,
I'm
can
talking about the original construction of placing the brick walls along a major arterial.
we see eligible expenditure,
Any of these roads.
expenditures that are associated with this district?
This time I cannot release those documents because they are considered part of my work papers and I am still auditing. But yes, eventually, once we finalize all pieces of every invoice, we've paid a portion of this invoice and a portion of this invoice, mainly at this point, road construction, because road construction is easy to identify. And we can very quickly go out there and say, there's the pavement, there's the manholes, there's the street lights, boom. What we are still trying that is mixed up in those invoices that are protected under my work papers, because I cannot release something that is not a public dollar spent on, okay? And so we are still trying to certify the things that have to do with detention ponds, whether something to do with a bridge was built in a way that was not necessary for the road, but was more beautification for the subdivision itself, or improvement for downstream homes. That is the responsibility of the developer, not the road district. So until I finish checking off every piece of that invoice, I cannot release that invoice. So I'm not trying to hide them from you, but we are not done auditing. We have audited pieces of them.
When those decisions are being made about what the developer pays for versus the district, on the commissioner's court side, who was involved in that discussions, negotiations with Pulte?
My office certifies to the commissioner's court what is legally eligible to be
That's an
reimbursed.
engineer.
It's myself and an engineer.
And then they, yeah.
And as you,
So it's not.
you're auditing the numbers, is there a reasonable and customary look at whether what they're charging, what they're paying is reasonable?
So they are required to put these projects out for bid. Be confirmed that they did that because it's no different than the county having to bid their projects. So it's a process. Here's what your bid document said. Your bid document said you were going to have 20 manuals. You're trying
At
to.
this price.
At this price.
Yeah.
You're trying to charge us for 30.
Seems
Right.
You
So
get 20. at
believe
this
me,
price.
they're knocking off stuff. They're trying to get things through that are not
If
legit.
they try to include irrigation to that landscape, gets X.
Circle back to something brought up and test my understanding.
Yeah.
everything with Ronald Reagan and all the arterial streets in North Point. The work's all been done. It's just a question of getting your arms around all the legitimate expenses that you haven't yet paid.
I can tell you absolutely Ronald Reagan is done. I cannot tell you because I have not driven out there. Perhaps Commissioner has knowledge.
Okay.
It's most likely most of these roads she's talking about are done. Silver Spur.
Anything that would to increase this would be another arterial.
Correct, and I'm not aware of one. There, and I'm here to say that I've already talked with the developer up there because we were trying to get one through just for connectivity, and it's not gonna happen. So, there's just not gonna be a connector, so it won't, I don't know of any road or cost in that part that would qualify for reimbursement. The good news is that they'll help with the assessed value, but not cost. Yes, sir.
Those people up there are gonna pay for.
Y'all's roads.
Um,
That's the way it works. Yeah.
It's just be long. And you think, my final question, that this summer, you're gonna finally get your arms around all this?
We have asked her to do it as quickly as possible. That's right. What my goal is to take it to court as soon as possible. But I have to have a legitimate number that I can defend and that I can get 2 more votes at least for. And I've asked Julie and her office, who just moved to our new location in this complex, by the way, so it's been kind of topsy-turvy for them. And we're getting a whole new financial system, so they have been extremely busy with that, to put the numbers down and audit them as quickly as possible, so we can get back to it and be done with it.
So Julie, what's a reasonable timeline?
I will share with you that my first assistant had a meeting this morning with the staff that are involved in this project. And we will follow up with the engineer, who's a contracted engineer. He used to be a former county employee. He has a lot of knowledge of the area. And I have given my staff till July 7th to deliver something to me to look at.
But not the finished package.
No, that will hopefully be the finished package, but
Okay, so it's,
But for her to audit, for her to look at it,
review it.
I'm gonna
and
look at it and we're gonna get done before the
Now,
end of August.
I
is my
can't control FMLA scenarios. I can't control, I'm not trying to make excuses.
no, I'm just trying to get a timeline. I'm not
And-
putting you to it, but I'm trying to get a,
And what commissioners asked me is to give her a number by this fall.
And I'm gonna push and say, can it be in August that then we would come to court and
Okay.
put on the agenda.
And that number basically is gonna be how much of that 70 to 45 million that's left.
It will be reducing the 70 million cap to another number that's a cap, that it will not go over. Yes, yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to go through this a little bit, for some clarification.
Okay, she's talking about the number that's colored page. It's got all the revenue and expenses on it.
Okay, so underneath the expenditures, we come down, that's the 25 million that we already sold, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you've got some, sure, you've got some highlighting, you've got the blue highlighted, which I see that bond issuance costs.
So every time we sell bonds, the banks have to be paid, attorneys have to be paid. There are various things that have to be paid when you do a bond sale. So those are dollars that never get delivered to the district. They go straight to, they're referred to as underwriters, the banks that underwrite these bonds.
And that's every time we sell bonds, anybody sells
Basically,
bonds.
administrative
It's
costs.
like an administrative
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
cost. selling.
And those administrative costs do not include my office nor
No, the
anything to
county's
do
not
with the
gonna-
commissioner's court.
the
And
county's
that's
not gonna-
one thing that I want to stress is that the county would be eligible for me to charge the district a fee for performing these audits. And we do not do that, okay? Years ago, in one of the districts that has successfully been dissolved, Avery Ranch, there were outside auditors that were hired in these audits. But at the end of the day, it's my office that has to ultimately certify them. So why should we incur those additional expenses? We do not do that.
Okay, all right, and then you've got you've got highlighted in yellow for, if I look at the dates, March 23rd, December 24th.
Those are years.
It's the years that I made the payment.
But that's yellow, and I look at the yellow down below.
So those may not tie up. I
They don't.
apologize. So we had
Is
a
part of that
little,
supposed to be orange?
yes, probably so. And I can get that cleaned up.
So the two yellow on the bottom constitutes the orange and the yellow
Yes, ma'am.
together?
Yes, ma'am. What
Okay.
happened? We were trying to circle back. I will tell you, there has been some staff turnover in my office. And we were trying to get some things cleared up between what was original sunk costs and what was reimbursement to Pulte for the construction of the roads that they're eligible to be reimbursed for. Some of that color coding today has no bearing. I apologize.
Unless I include the grid.
We had a little IT situation in the county last night. I was in the EOC till almost midnight and I did not have access to my.
We got hacked.
We got. So I apologize, but I very quickly pulled this out. What I can tell you is accurate information is what.
No, so I was going there next. So the red description, does that constitute the 5 million or the 4.5 million that is like outstanding?
No, ma'am. These are.
Are these explaining these numbers?
Yes, this is what
explaining these numbers.
these expenses were for.
Oh, okay, so.
Okay, so the red notes out to the side describe what those payments were for. That have already been made from bonds that have been issued. There is nothing on this sheet that reflects what we think Pulte is still owed.
Okay, so.
That's what we're putting together.
So, but on that, so what's the guidelines, the criteria that your auditing group uses to determine what is eligible for developer reimbursement for what isn't?
It is
Honestly, when I see these, when I see landscape improvements,
it is a combination of what state statute defines for road districts as being an eligible expense and whether that was further limited or not. Each development agreement for some of our districts have been done differently. And some of the older districts were a little more specific than some of the districts that we're dealing with now.
so
The
you
districts
use
dealing with
statutes to
state
determine that.
statutes and what the development agreement may have outlined if it was more stringent. Okay,
Can you set a deadline for Pulte to submit everything or has that?
they have sent us what they believe is everything. They're very cooperative. We have
Well, yeah, they are because they want to get reimbursed.
Yeah.
So that's not, you don't need.
No, unfortunately.
No, you don't need
part
to
of-
do anymore.
You guys don't need to reach out to them. We're speaking to them daily. Some of what's missing because of how old some of the stuff is, where's your proof of payment for XYZ invoice? Okay, oh, we thought you sent that. Sorry, let us go dig an old bank box. They're very responsive.
Just, let me switch gears just for a second. The $4 million bond that you're going to sell this summer, is there a specific state agency or entity that will review the financials that you mentioned, for example, has to be value on the ground? Is there one
Yeah.
state agency?
So there's-
And I'm sorry, if I may, what I want, trying to link to is what is that latest value on the ground?
So you can go out yourself and look on the appraisal district website, okay? You can pull up the district and you can see the values that the appraisal district is working through as they certify that number to us, okay? That number will not be certified officially until around July 25th, okay? We have an appraisal district that is extremely efficient in how they use technology and do things. Sometimes we get that a week ahead of time. Okay, so it'll roughly be mid-July before we know final certification. We utilize a financial advisor. The name of the company is Specialized Public Finance. We have one financial advisor who works on our districts. We have another financial advisor that represents the county. It's the same exercise on both sides, okay? And they run calculations, okay? They have numbers people that run these calculations. They go down, they pull down the certified estimates that we received from the appraisal district in April. We have history. We know, okay, perhaps 10% of that certified estimate is going to get reduced before we get to that July deadline. So they'll begin running numbers, okay? And then we put that forth to these underwriting firms. They look at them They say this is what we believe the interest rate may be given the current market. So a function of the interest rate, a function of what we believe the estimated values will be, and then looking at this debt structure that you have a copy of, we say this is where we can ladder in. Rich more. Yeah, Rich more, sorry. And then the 29 cents is part of that calculation. This is what the 29 cents can support.
You know that the estimates that will be rolled together for this, does that include submission? Presenting construction in process?
Yes, sir. That is part of the process. That's why we're trying to get a hold of this other developer as well, okay? Is to say, what is your plan, okay? Pulte, for example, back in April was required to give us an update, and the update we received from Pulte back in April was that they had approximately 320 homes left to close on in the district and various stages of construction. We look at that, we say the average value for the existing homes on the ground is X, and that all gets factored into the calculations. Yes, and then the final process, just so you know, is that every debt issuance, regardless of entity in the state of Texas, the final sign off within 30 days of selling the bonds is the Attorney General's office. They have a specific division who reviews everything. They make sure that we have followed state statute in creating these districts. They ask us for formation documents. They ask us for developer agreements. They ask us all those questions.
Thank you. That's
Can I cut a line again?
one more.
Oh, who's next?
We were asking.
I want it, but it does relate for the county.
So what we were asking for?
Yes, sir.
It's there, right previous slide. I understand that as of 2005, government entities all throughout the country required to start reporting infrastructure, bridges, highways.
Yes, sir.
Yes, inventory.
Take it like public companies would have to do it. Assets have to be defined. Do we have to do that?
Yes, sir.
We do that.
Okay, is that type of information listed on the?
It's in the face of the financial report that's on my document. And in this case, what you'll see that is a challenge with these districts, and it happens with every single one of them. You'll even see it on the face of the county's financials, okay? These districts are building roads that the city of Georgetown will have to maintain. So they're not our assets, but we have the debt. So you're going to look at that balance sheet. You're familiar with the question you're asking me, and you're going to see that it's upside down.
Okay. It's something that.
That's just.
Something most people wouldn't.
Yes.
It's a way to find out what the current estimated values are. Depreciation has to be.
We do not depreciate roads. We certify that they will be maintained within certain schedules. So we don't depreciate roads, but yes, sir, we do depreciate all other.
And all of these roads, by the way, are the cities to maintain.
Yes.
Even Reagan, that the part of Reagan that they have annexed. Just clarifying, not your district.
So when you repave a road in how long years or so, or whatever, it's expensive. Thank you.
Everybody seems.
Got it.
So
Karen,
I know,
I'm sorry, somebody else had their
he's
hand
had his hand up for a long time.
up.
I had a simple question.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, first off, I want to thank you specifically for explaining this whole audit process. I think everyone kind of does, now we understand what's happening. And I appreciate that a lot. The thing that I wanted, and I know this is probably outside your world, but how do you make sure that when you receive an invoice for work that was performed, that it had not been reimbursed elsewhere in the world? Because we all bought houses. How do we know that a portion of our house price, it does not include the reimbursement that we're talking about here? How is that, under state law, whatever, how would we know that without going to Pulte and saying how much of our home cost is being reimbursed here?
They wouldn't tell you.
Yeah, that is not something I look at.
No. I know you don't.
I don't know how.
All you know is you get an invoice for legislature and tax and everything. It matches this. But what I'm wondering is how in the world do we find out that some of this reimbursable cost that they're getting reimbursed for was not already included in our home price? I understand that, but that can't be legal.
Auditors would have to look at that. Would we be responsible to hire auditors?
I don't know. I mean, y'all are welcome to do whatever y'all want to do as a group, but I'm not sure how you would know that. I mean, if your market value of your home is way off, or if it's consistent with everybody, with other parts of Sun City that are not in the district, I don't know if you could, that might be one thing you could look at, but I don't know that y'all got a bargain on your homes because they're in the district.
No, there was this
Maybe,
tax you had to pay.
The wrong one.
sorry. Yes, Sharon, go ahead.
So I have been working on this project since September. I've met most of the people in here, but mostly I've met your neighbors, right? Might not have met you, but I've met your neighbors. So we had 1,324 people sign the petition. If you can pass this up to Valerie, this is the petition that your neighbors signed. What I'd like to know, Commissioner Kobe and County Judge, if you guys would consider freezing the value on everybody's home, and then Pulte would have to wait until the houses that are being built are finished so they can get the rest of their money, because that would be an excellent show of good faith that you did everything you could do and that you were very creative to come up with a solution where no one's Somerset Hills tax would go up anymore, because you said you'd set it at 29, it would stay at 29. If you did not keep selling bonds, you rescind the bonds, the 45 million in bonds, and then everybody's home market value would freeze, just like on our other taxes. And then the money would come in from the additional homes to pay Pulte, and they would wait for that money.
Okay,
I mean, that
I
would.
understand what you're asking.
Okay.
Let me address it. First of all, I want to dismiss the myth of $45 million. That was a number pulled out of the air because she hasn't told me the number yet. So I don't want anybody going home and telling your neighbors that it's going to be this much. Oh, time out. Because if it's not that, you're going to say, Kobe didn't do their job. And I'm telling you, I want it to be as low as possible, but it's got to be legitimate. Because legally, it's got to be legitimate. Because they have a lawsuit if it's not. So that's one thing. I don't want there to be misunderstanding. It's going to be as low as possible to pay off. Once we get the magic number of what it needs to be, we're going to reduce it down. I'm going to take it to court, but I got to get 2 more votes at least. Okay. And I'd love it to be a 5-0. Okay. That's one thing. Those are numbers that are just being thrown around. I want to be legit on that. What she's asking us to do, I'm happy to take that to our bond counsel and ask if we can, because your question really is, can we freeze the property values like you're on your other property? I mean, like our city and county and all that kind of stuff. Okay. I don't think we can, but I'm happy to ask that question and get a legal response. And that would be my response back to you. Okay. I'm not going to stand here today and tell you legally we can do it because I don't know that it's legal to do that. Making Pulte wait, Pulte is going to wait no matter what, because they have been waiting and they're going to have to wait longer because there's not enough value on the ground anytime soon to pay them back at 29 cents. Okay. So I just wanted, I'm completely good with asking our bond counsel that question. I'm just not here to say that it's
This is just a question I have, and I don't know if Julie has. Because it goes to the question of, can we wait to pay people back? I don't know what's set up in the agreement that says we have to maximize the debt capacity to pay off as much as we can, as soon as we can. I don't know what's in the language.
We said we would go to 29 cents.
Okay, so it's at 29 cents. So
And we're
regardless of the
maximizing that.
value, it's 29 cents. And if they get X amount of dollars on that, that's what they get. If they get more, they get less. That's what they get.
That's right. And it takes longer to pay them back. That's what you're saying.
And it's my understanding, and this is not good news, but I think all the little things that the arguments are trying to chip away at, if you say, okay, we're not selling any more debt, we're not going to spend the money that hasn't been spent, we're going to do all this stuff, and Pulte would agree to that, everybody's still obligated to the 29 cents for the 25 years, right? Regardless of
Of
what's
the debt that's already been sold.
what's done away. And I know that's one ask, but on top of all that, they're just trying to get nothing added to it. And I think hopefully that was cleared up today, that regardless, it won't be higher than 29 cents. But the value of the home, as Sharon spoke to, will it go up? That's a WCAT issue,
That's right.
right? That's out of the county.
It's a market issue.
Authority.
Yeah.
Is your property value gonna go up? Absolutely. And other than paying taxes, you know, you want it to improve. I don't know your neighborhood. My neighborhood was pretty flat and my individual value went down 50,000. Now, that being said, it's tripled over the last 8 years, right? So you don't see a reduction. But I don't want you to walk away and say, okay, we've got an avenue to where our taxes can go down, because even if we reduce the debt, I think the tax rate stays the same and what you're paying could go up and down.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna write the summary statement, but I'm gonna put this in category of summary and way ahead. First of all, if we don't say thank you to Julie again and again, we're remiss in this meeting, so thank you. And Rachel, you handled yourself like a champ yesterday with this crowd, so kudos to you. You deserve a public thank you as well. We are not always the friendliest group. Although we've been pretty cordial today.
It's great.
Okay, so I think what I'm looking for, I mean, Sharon floated an idea and I don't want to be dismissive of that in any way. I'm just trying to summarize what I think I heard here today. And Judge, I think you just summarized some of it. So what I learned is the good news, bad news, and the ugly, right? So depending on the resident's perspective, we're going to be paying some form of district tax through 2050 because those bonds have already been issued. So that's point one. That's just a fact we need to bring back to our residents. The amount that they pay is market value, but capped at the 29 cents per $100 of value. So that's a fixed amount. What I also heard you say, though, this is what I was trying to get to, and I think others in the group, is there shouldn't be a lot more coming due for repayment to Pulte. And Julie, you and your staff are trying to get, so we're aware of 4.5 million for this year. There'll be some dollar amount in 2027. And then really, if we're putting a deadline, Pulte submit, you know.
We believe we have all of their documentation.
Okay, but I won't quote you as knowing that, but I think that's the goal.
Yes, ma'am.
So sometime in July, 7th or 14th-ish, you're going to get a package. I forget what date I wrote. All things
Staff
will,
until July 7th to put something on my desk that I can review and ask questions. What's missing?
and then you don't sleep or eat, and you work 24/7. So
That's our expectation.
We were together till about 1 in the morning.
So you get some humankind time to review that. So now we're in early August. I'll just give you,
Committed to the commissioner that we will have something done by mid-February.
because,
And I'm pushing to have it in August. So just so that you know.
and then
But
you're,
let me just tell you, our budget is the whole month of August. So
That's the other thing
It's-
I have to do.
it's kind of
but
complicated.
the legal term then, there's a legal term here. There's either an election, which that term has been kicked about for good or bad, and the term of a resolution that has been stated good or bad. I'm trying to figure out what is the legal recourse then that we have with the commissioner's court or the board to stop the bleeding, you know, get that dollar amount and stop any more bond issuance.
Reduce the 70.
So it may not be 45, but it's some pretty,
So, and just one more question, make sure this is an accurate statement, because this goes to what Sharon was talking about. If we tell Pulte, no more, like, we're not gonna give us a whatever 10-year reprieve on any more debt being issued until we get more homes. Whether we do that or we issue it, the 29 cent rate won't change. Is that accurate?
That's right.
So does it benefit anybody to halt that? See what I'm saying?
pay it.
Maybe that's how we're gonna.
Now we gotta pay it.
As long as we don't get more interest.
We just don't want that.
Value.
So,
That was part one.
yeah, that's it.
That was part one of it.
So you see, let me clarify that, please, because I want to make sure people understand how your frozen property taxes work, okay? For the county, for example, we have the over 65 freeze. You're not freezing your property values. You're freezing your tax bill, okay? And no, you are freezing your tax bill, okay? If your property value, your assessed value from the appraisal district is reduced, your tax bill would go down, okay? If your property value increases,
And refreeze.
no,
No,
No, the appraisal.
It's a-
quotes generally goes up.
the bill is what is frozen,
I'm saying is the
Bill is free.
right? But we're not
Right.
freezing the value, we're freezing the bill. I want to clarify, yes.
The could freeze the value.
No, we
No.
cannot. That's not what state statute allows us to create.
But wouldn't it be the same thing?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, if I could finish, please.
Yeah.
If you make an improvement to your home, that now raises that ceiling. The math gets redone. It's very important that you understand how that works. There's a lot of misconceptions about how that over 65 freeze.
I think you guys take care of that part, but for the residents, you guys figure out the mechanics of it.
It's not a mechanics thing. That's just how it works.
Okay,
Okay,
that's fine.
and,
okay.
and if you sell your house, then the
And
new
if-
person that comes in, to her point, if you sell your house, the new guy comes in at the real, at the
new
current,
value.
the current, not what your frozen
And
was.
what I need you to understand is, again, I mentioned that we have financial advisors involved in this, okay? And it is actually the financial advisors that advise what exemptions should go into these districts and should not. They would not be financially feasible. You would be dragging out the timeline of how much longer it would take to pay Pulte back, because you've now frozen the revenue eligible to pay on those bonds. You've now changed my estimates, okay? And we could potentially be in violation of our bond agreements.
But that's what I'm committing to you, Sharon, that we will have that, we will ask that question and get back to you on that. But Julie's been around a while.
None of these districts have these exemptions in them. None
That's
of them.
right.
And that's fine. I don't believe MUDs do them either, but I could be wrong, sir. You could correct.
I'm just saying it'll be a faith-based thing.
Next.
Yep, bottom line,
Hold on just a second. Hold on. Yes, go ahead.
just bottom line, you get the information August, September. At what point in time do you think you'll be able to give us an answer after you?
Well, I'm as soon as possible. My target is as soon as possible. I'm pushing, I'm prodding, a very busy department to get it so that I can put it on the agenda and talk about it.
You can say
with the board. And by the way, just so that you know, this isn't the last time we're going to talk. And I'm happy to have another meeting in the future if you'd like, but we're going to communicate because hopefully we have all your email addresses and we're going to communicate. We're going to send out information to you based on the packet that we put together, but we're also, we need to summarize some things. If you'll do this for me, I really ask for this. We're going to send information to you. You're going to have questions. You're going to have, hey, you didn't put this in there. We talked about this. Send it back to us because before you send it out to everybody, we want to have a complete packet. So we're not nickel and dime it with dribble the information. So send it back and go, hey, we talked about that and you didn't put that in there. We're going to do the best we can in summarizing. Rachel, by the way, just for full disclosure, has taped this meeting so that we have the information, your questions and all of that. So we can go back and review that and make sure that we're inclusive. Yeah, we're going to miss something, but help me with that. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, so no one in this room, commissioner, anybody has anything to do with your appraised value. That is set by Williamson County Appraisal District. Totally separate body and organization. Okay?
That's right.
Yeah.
So they don't have any effect on the value. Go ahead, Jeff.
I have a point to that. Great point. There's 3 elected positions on that board. And the sign up window is coming up this summer. I think the deadline is July.
Yes.
Yes, I think.
So if you're interested.
So before you leave, I need 3 of you to sign up.
So they cannot affect your valuation of your home. No one in here can.
Nope.
It's the appraisal district.
Right.
But she's 100% right in everything she's saying. Possibly they can set a tax ceiling. I don't know if that's possible or not according to the, but there are several tax ceilings. Every one of us enjoy them in here. But as far as valuation, that's going to fluctuate up and down. Most likely it's going to continue to go up. But if they can put a tax ceiling for us on this particular bond, 2.9%, that might help, but it's going to extend the payout time. So there's no way of getting around paying this bond or the mud that I'm.
Wait, we have been waiting patiently.
Am I correct in saying that that the state legislature can give exemptions to our property values with respect to the road district, like they do for schools and so on?
I am not aware of that. Schools are different because they help fund schools, and you've got a retired superintendent right there. He can speak to schools, but I'm not aware that the states could do that for us.
It's my understanding that you can get tax exemptions on the maintenance side of your tax bill, but not the debt side. But don't hold me to that. Let me research that.
I think that's right, because there's an obligation there and to the bondholders.
Well, I can tell you.
This isn't a debt tax. It's not an operations tax.
I can tell you a 100% disabled veteran, 100% military disabled veteran does not currently pay this district for tax. They are taxes.
They don't pay any taxes.
Know that.
So you have to be 100%.
Yes, sir.
So what's the ask? What are you asking us to do right now?
Well, first of all, thank you for being here today. And I know that y'all are getting paid a whole lot to do your role. So thank you for being here today, seriously. And also thank you for we're going to summer, like I said, the homework is, there's some questions that have been asked today. There's some information that's been shared. We want to put together a summary of that so it'd be easier for you to explain it to others. We will send you the packet of information that you can email out to everyone. If somebody doesn't want it to be emailed for whatever reason, we can provide a hard copy, or you can. And then, but before you send it out to everybody, the ask is that you look at the information, especially the summary sheet. If we've forgotten something that you feel is valuable, you have an additional question, please ask it so that we can send out everybody the same information. That's my ask.
So unfortunately, here's the challenge. You've asked to do this through the NRO. The NRO has strict guidelines as to not try to influence anybody.
Just factual.
Clearly, this issue, there's two sides. So to send out one side without the other would be implicitly suggesting I support this.
Well, time out. I don't see it as two sides. Sharon has some definite thoughts, and others have some, and they voiced it on Tuesday. They have various, issues and concerns and questions, and I completely get it. My goal is to address those with facts. So what we send you is not going to be opinion. It's not going to be Covey thinks this or Covey thinks that. I've shared with you some of my thoughts about some of the law changes.
Happy to
today.
review your document.
But go ahead.
Let me just finish.
Yeah.
I had a discussion today with Pat Cronin, and
that is.
he is the chair of the NRO, and Corbett, who's the chair of it, right?
I know.
And he said, I understand. It sounds like this information, once it's vetted, needs to go through Jenny Phillips.
That's fine. We can send it through Jenny.
I understood.
It's perfect.
But she's going to look at both sides.
So,
There's
so
a
if
concern.
somebody else sends out anything else than what we have said,
So
I don't know why that would happen. Yes,
I'm the vice chair.
of the whole for all of Sun City.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So my feeling is we can send out information. We can't have an opinion. So if we send out this package, this is information that's publicly available.
I would just say, all I'm saying is, I know they're going to bring this to Josh. I would not send anything out until you get the okay for having that.
I'll take the action to talk to.
Great.
to the CA. And
That'd be great. That'd be good, because that
Because
And I'm going to talk with Josh too, and just, I mean, we will include them, Jenny and Josh, in
And I'll just,
anything we say.
and maybe just give you some feedback. The fact, when I sent you my email, tell me a status of things back in April, and you would have sent me the timeline instead of the document that I signed during my closing, I would be in a much more positive state of mind.
Sure.
You kind of, my perception is you've been withholding information or making it very difficult to get. I'm hoping this is a total turnaround now.
I have not done anything on purpose to withhold information. Most of these documents that I have here today are public, and we would have, or we created it, like that timeline. I wanted a timeline to be able to walk you through it. And then we put it together.
I'm just telling you my personal experience.
I understand. Well, for one thing, from now on, and somebody asked how quickly we get back to you, it will be as quickly as we can. We'll make sure that we have your information, like, yes, we got it, and now I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Okay.
But no, and if anybody implies that we're trying to hide anything, I hope today has changed your mind, because I'm not trying to hide anything. It's not the most wonderful situation that you're in. And I don't propose to say it's great, you live in a road district. No, but today was a time to be factual and to also be honest with you about our goals to move forward. I want to reduce the 70 million. I hope I've said that enough. I am for that. And I'm going to present, my goal is to present as soon as possible a number to reduce the cap, the 70 million cap, down to a legitimate number. But I'm going to make sure, and I'm an auditor, I'm a CPA. I'm not going to send a number. I'm not going to ask him or any of my colleagues to vote on something that I can't support and I can't defend. Because the last thing we need is a lawsuit, and the lawsuit would be with the district. So I don't want that to be the case. So that's why I need your patience with it, because that's the situation that we're in.
Okay,
Yes.
I feel like when you all say, anybody in here, especially maybe towards the front of the room, that there's been misinformation. The only information that I have given anybody at any of the neighborhood meetings is the same information that I gave you and Julie Kiley and Rachel in March. And I specifically asked, was there anything in here that is not correct? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so what I feel like is that I have been personally persecuted for bringing up this whole situation. I also asked you in that March meeting, I said, we've lived in Sun City for 6 years. We've been paying this tax for 6 years. I've never once seen a newspaper story. I've never had anybody ask my opinion. I've never seen any kind of audit. I've never had anybody contact me at all about the Somerset Hills. I saw a void in information, and I started giving people the information. Now it seems in the last month that there's been dogs called out on me personally. It feels
By whom?
awful.
By whom?
Commissioner Kobe, let me
Keep going.
It feels awful to try to do a good thing for your neighbors and try to point out something that doesn't seem to be correct or seems to be so bizarre that you can't even believe it's real. And then go out and tell people about it and try to get information and have open records not be filled. 3 or 4 times I got non-responsive. We don't have it. The first thing I asked for was a map to the district. I was told you didn't have one. So please, all of you guys in here, please, all of you guys in here, I have done a service for our neighbors.
You have.
And for you guys to go back and try to make me somehow responsible for the unhappiness that comes from the county for being questioned on this is not fair to me. And that's a fact. And then to say, well, we want to know what everybody's doing. We're trying to rescind the $45 million in the bonds. That's what we're trying to do. There's no secret. There's no secret. We're trying to keep our taxes as low as we possibly can. That is not a secret. You don't have to have spies to try to find out what we're saying. Okay? That's what the neighbors want. please try to help them. That's all we've ever wanted. And then additionally, I asked you in March, I said, can you have an annual meeting where you describe what the money's being spent on? What bonds are you selling? And you said, well, I'm not sure if we could do that. I mean, how would we do that? And then I asked for you to lower the $45 million, and you told me you didn't think that it was legal to lower it. So all I've done is try to work for everybody in here. So if you want to send something out to your neighborhoods, please tell them that I'm at the end of my rope. I'm either going to get an attorney or I'm going to quit, because I do not want to continue to be personally attacked and innuendo that I have somehow done some sort of misinformation, or that I have told lies or something about you guys. I met the county judge, really nice guy. He asked me a lot of questions. He wanted to do research. I thought it was so refreshing. So refreshing. That's what we're after. The people are after communication. They're after openness and transparency, and not for just this thing, but all the things, right? For all the years that we had no information whatsoever about this. But anyway, please quit attacking me, NRO people.
Okay, I don't know anything about that, Sharon. I'm not attacking you at all. I know y'all signed things in your closing packet. It's in there. And I don't know if it was a red flag. Somebody said, hey, you're gonna be in a road district. I can't speak to that.
Back of paper.
I know. And it's hard. It's hard when you go back to that. But I just wanted you to know that's in your packet. That's gonna go out to everybody.
This isn't the one we signed. This is a revised.
It's a modified one, yeah.
Okay.
So people sign things that were a lot different. And I think there is a feeling that a lot of this was not disclosed
It's not.
to the extent that Sharon said was legally required to be disclosed. There's a feeling that a lot of that was not properly
Yeah.
disclosed to us.
Well, and I'm not suggesting that it is, because I wasn't there, and that's not
I bought the house because of that.
that's not one of our responsibilities as of the county, of course, to do that. And you may have, sir, you may have a case with your, a civil suit with your realtor or with the title company. I'm not here to suggest that you don't.
And this,
I don't, but
the one that here is not necessarily disclosure. That
yeah, I'm just saying that that's just an example of what is required now. So let me say this. This is not a political issue for me. Okay? I am a political figure. So is the judge, but this is not a political issue. And to suggest otherwise to anybody, you can say it all you want. It's just not true. I've been nothing but honest with you. And to Sharon's point, she asked for a map. That map, we in my office did not have this. Rachel made this map. So when an information request comes through, and because I asked her to, okay, in order for us to share this, not that there wasn't a map, but we didn't have it. And so the thing is, when an information request comes through, we're not required to create documents. We just give you the documents that exist. That's just by law.
By that person holding that.
By me in this example. But we put this together. We created the timeline for this discussion. The other thing is, I've been asked to come to a July meeting. I hope that this meeting is helpful. We actually have set up a September meeting, and I'm happy to show up to that and talk, because I feel like it's important. I just felt like it was the next thing to do would be to talk to the NRO, because that's the way you're organized out there. Now, whether it works well or not, that's up to you guys. I can't speak to that, but I feel like this is such a big group anyway, to be able to ask questions like we've been able to get feedback and go back and forth. A bigger group with 1,300 people or whatever was going to be out of control, right? And so that's why I felt like the next step would be to do this. Your taxes that you're going to pay for 26 are not going to be impacted if we have a meeting in July or August or September. And I just want y'all to be clear. I'm not suggesting that that's the case. I'm happy to meet with you more. I mean, I'm fine. I meet with everybody, whether they like me or not, whether they're angry with me or not. I'm happy with that. But I just need the information shared with the people. so that it's legitimate. And then if they have questions and they get back through to you, or just like the other day when, I don't know, 100 people showed up to court, I wanted to make sure that if somebody in your neighborhood has a direct question to us, they can do that. They can email us. If they feel like the NRO is not doing what the NRO is supposed to do, that they had an avenue to us. That's why we took down email addresses. But when we send out information, unless it's on some other topic, it's going to come back to the whole. Because I want everybody to have the same information. That's all I'm asking about. Now, if somebody, to your point, if somebody else wants to share information, I hope that you send it to me so that we can address it. I mean, I would on this issue, I would hope that would be fair, because if information is being shared with neighbors, then at least let me see, how we can address it. That's all I'm asking. Back to your ask.
Mark's going to work it, but that's why the original thought was get Jenny Phillips to vet some of the stuff. I don't know if that's the right answer or not. Mark's going to work that.
Okay, this is the thing. Jenny can address, I mean, the Pulte, different than the association. They may want to, when I talk to Josh and Jenny, they may want to have it go through them to then to you and then to the people. Or if they want to send it out directly and bypass or include you because you'd be in the group, but send it directly to these neighborhoods that are affected. I don't care how the information gets out. I just thought that it'd be better for the next discussion to be with a group of 20, not 1,300.
I think there are several of us that think that's a bad idea.
Of what part?
Of everything only passing through the NRO to get to us in our neighborhoods, simply because of the board structure. Pulte is still the senior or the senior voting member on that board.
And will be until they
will be until at least 2028.
That's right.
I'm not accusing them of anything nefarious. We're trying to build trust. So the very people who are being reimbursed by this road district shouldn't be a filter for the communication that goes to the people who are paying the taxes in the road district.
So you don't think, okay, so Cindy, how do you propose that I get information?
I'm okay with the broader emails that Dan and Mark sent to us as representatives. And if the representative are getting us and then choosing to engage, that is at least puts us in a front line without a filter being applied.
In other words, don't send it to, well, I'm gonna copy Jenny and Josh.
Yeah.
But you're saying don't go through Jenny and Josh.
If there's a
direct
filter
to the,
applied,
to you guys.
my opinion is a filter applied could erode trust, whether anything is occurring or not.
Okay, sure.
It could just be regarded that way.
Okay, let me to make sure I understand. Dan, of course, I can send everything to Dan and Dan can send it to you.
Correct.
I could send it directly to you and include Dan.
Correct.
I don't have email addresses for all 1,300 or 1,400 people. So what is the best way? Everybody that thinks that I should send it to Dan and you, raise your hand.
You need to let Mark, within the
Or
NRO,
whatever.
tell you what the right process is.
That's fine.
So I will talk to, I'll call a meeting with Pat, bring in Dan,
Doing this fine.
Jenny and Josh. And I'll have that meeting. However, as it has been stated, I think that for transparency and for trust, I don't think it should be filtered by anyone. The community.
I hope it's not filtered by anyone.
Right, so this communication should come from you. But the issue that we have with the NRO is that we want to be apolitical.
100%. I get it.
So we don't want to support or not support different issues. All we want to do is be a vehicle to communicate the message.
And tell me your name again.
Mark.
Mark, thank you, Mark. Mark, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, when we start in months, starting the Reagan project, adding those other lanes, in the past, and I intend to do it this time, I will send communication to you weekly. This is what we did. This is what we're going to do. In other words, don't go to the HEB over there. Don't do it this time, or don't do it this day, because we're going to be doing stuff. That's what we've done in the past, and it seems to work because it gets filtered to everything. Now, that's been through Jenny, because Jenny, it was for the whole of Sun City.
Right.
I mean, if Jenny wants, I will do it however y'all want me to do it. I don't care. I want it to be received as legit. Okay. And if you don't trust, I mean, it's you guys that that I would have sent it to, but,
This is an issue with just the Area 5.
okay,
So it doesn't involve the entire Sun City.
right.
I don't know that there's any benefit to have Josh or Jenny review anything. I will get with them. I will find out what their opinions are and
Josh is an employee of Pulte.
Yeah, we don't want them even in on it all.
Not at all.
So my goal was to, and I'll do it however you say, Mark. I'm not trying to mess you up. But I want this information and what we've talked about to get to the people.
Yeah.
So the best avenue that nobody questions it. Now, there's no sides to this. There are facts. And so you sending this out to everybody is not Covey's opinion. It's not the county's opinion. It's the facts that this is what's happened. This is the district. This is what's getting paid for. This is how it's going to work. However y'all want me to do that, that's fine. But I need all the people to get the same information. And then when there's feedback, I get it and I disseminate the answers to that to everybody. Yes.
So Chris Alexander, so the last packet that was provided, I was able to use the system and just as a link and said, here is the actual data to all of my neighbors using our system.
Yeah, okay. You're as an NRO rep.
As an
you
NREP,
have access to everybody's
yes,
email.
and I had that exact packet and sent it out to the 230 people in N71 and said, here is the packet of information.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I would encourage you to reach out to Commissioner Covey's office.
Right.
Because I don't want to present myself to be the content expert.
Right, you're sharing facts.
I'm sharing factual information. I did not say which way to go, what it is.
Right.
And I think, to me, that using that same opportunity for people who have elected to receive information, that is a clean way to get the packet of information, if it's digital or whatever the word is,
would be
directly to the masses.
Mark, what's your thought on that?
so I will talk to the CA just so that they have understanding.
Of what we're doing.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't feel that they need any involvement in this. I think that a direct communication through Dan or the NReps, I think that should work. And it's an extra burden on them. They've got busy days.
So I wouldn't send it to them for them to fact check it. Because that's not what this is about.
Right.
If there's somebody that's questioning the facts, should come to me because I need to be able to figure out if it's right or wrong. And then, Dan, if you want it all to go to you,
Well, one of the problems I have is this is probably not everybody in Area 5.
It's not.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to make sure that everybody gets,
From everybody, including you, you can still send it out to all your.
yeah, I mean, if you guys want a direct communication, that's fine.
My guess is if you send it to people that don't care about it because they're not in the district, they will let you know. Stop sending it to.
Well, I have people that have said, I'm not getting it from my NREP. Well, I have to deal with that. You can't deal with that. I can go to the NREP and say, if you can't do it, let's find another way.
That's right.
The thing I would suggest is I'm sensing from not this group, but other groups, that they don't really trust what I'm sending out. And my attitude to that is fine. Go to Covey, Commissioner Covey, and say, Dan sent this out. Is he full of crap or what's going on? And confirm it. You don't have to believe everything I
Yeah,
say.
and my contact information will be on there.
But
So
if you send it out in an email in the form of attachment, official letter.
Right, from me.
But what I'm doing is when she sends me something, it goes out verbatim. I don't touch it. I just say,
Well, there would be a cover letter that would explain
that would be.
why they're getting it, and they would have my letterhead on it. So they're going to know it's from me. And any future conversations would have my information on it.
Well, the thing I can do is I can connect with everybody that you not necessarily can connect to. So that's what I'm looking for. I want everybody to see the information, not just a select few. It's got to be fair.
100%.
I think we can ask who?
To Sharon's also 72. We have not gotten one piece of information about this issue from our NREP. So that is not the best way to communicate. I'm glad I'm here now.
Joe, I think you need to talk to your NREP.
Well, time out. At the beginning of this conversation, when the issue was brought up, I wanted to get information out to the neighborhood reps because I know how you're organized. And Joe, and And I was told the NRO doesn't want to have to deal with this or doesn't want any part of this.
That's not true.
Well, I was told that.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's true. I mean, obviously you're here today. I think you care about it. You want to know.
And use our official email if.
Well, and so, so now that's why I'm asking you, I'll do it however you want, but I want information.
Change, I'm sorry for interrupting, ma'am.
But
It's been a change in the last 30 days. We now have authorization to use. We have to, they're careful with the permissions they give us. I also have 240 people I send an email out to. So we were advised and purposefully told, you're not allowed to use our email authorities to do this. There's now been a turnaround on that. And so we do have the latitude to do that. And many of us have been doing that. So
I would think that would be the purpose of what you, I mean, not political stuff, but obviously, but information.
Yeah. Point of order, just real quick. There's a lot of timelines and things we talked about. I know I'm expecting a great summary, Rachel, no pressure. But when is your next July district board meeting and then the August board meeting? Because the August board meeting feels like a possible target date for something on the agenda as a follow-up even.
Typically, what we do at the road district meeting is the court has those meetings third Tuesday of the month, typically, okay? Those meetings are posted on the Commissioners Court website, just like the county meeting is, okay? There are sometimes timelines. I want to be honest with you, full disclosure. I have no political gain in anything. I just told you, I get rehired every 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, am I doing a good job or not? Hopefully I've done a good one for 32 years. I'm up, so please don't pick on me, but I got enough.
I want to be you.
Don't leave. Don't.
It's been eligible for a long time.
We feel you, we feel you.
But all that to say that sometimes our bond timelines will change that third Tuesday.
Okay.
Sure, I might have 2 road district meetings in 1 month. Our deadlines to adopt tax rates can change those meetings. I might ask the court to have 2 road district meetings in 1 month, okay? We may change it because the third Tuesday falls after a holiday. And now with the posting deadlines and getting the agendas done, we don't meet next Tuesday as an example, because Friday is a holiday. If that had been our third Tuesday, we would not be having road district, and I would be moving it.
But I'll tell you what, Cindy, I can do is we can let you know when things are going to go on the agenda. Normally, those agendas include revenue and expenses. It's pretty simple. And then once a year, we set the tax rate. Again, not changing it from 29 cents. Don't go away thinking, oh, Cody said they're going to change the tax rate. No, I'm not saying that, but for all the districts.
Mostly what we're paying bills for is the engineer I spoke of, who's helping me review this work. Okay, they're pretty small, but we might have one of those invoices on that Tuesday. Every taxing district in the county pays into the appraisal district to fund their existence. These road districts, MUDs, ESDs, everybody does. So every quarter, we're paying the appraisal district from the road district, okay? And then twice a year, we pay their debt bills, okay? So February and August, you'll see invoices on the road district agenda. So there's usually 2, 3 items, and the month we're setting tax rates, because we have 5 or 6 or 7 districts, there's maybe 7 or 8 agenda items.
So Cindy,
okay?
what I'll commit to is when we have the numbers and we're ready I'm ready to take that to the court, we'll let everybody know. We'll just let y'all know ahead of time. Now, what we have to do is we have to turn in the agenda like on Wednesday morning, prior to the Tuesday. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll just let y'all know but we're going to communicate between now and then. You're going to know what we're going to do. There won't be a shock on that because we'll communicate. Okay. What else? Yes, sir.
How many positions are coming open on that board?
3.
There you go.
I know all for Cindy to serve. Okay.
Cindy served enough time.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
That's the
I'm not
point.
in the district, but I just don't know about my mind.
Well, that's an elected.
Tax people is important.
That's elected.
Get the information, it's being on the board.
Yeah, so like everybody, we've sat here for a couple hours. It's been a very long meeting. I want to thank Commissioner Covey.
Agree with you.
I want to thank Rachel and Julie Kiley. They've done a lot of research. Not only for y'all, but for me. Sharon Reed, I don't know you. I just met you officially for the first time. We talked on the phone once. I'm sorry you're being attacked. Just know all these things, like I appreciate the fact that you saw what you considered a problem and you got people involved to try to get the tax out. Labise? Am I saying that right? Labise? Labise, who was the other family that was sitting on the front row?
Libre, Lori Libre.
My question is, what can we do?
Uh-huh.
What can we do? Like all these problems, what can we do? And it always came back to the only thing we can really do is in order to lower the tax deals, extend the debt. I don't know that that's a great idea. So in looking at everything, one thing we said we would leave with, and y'all asked me yesterday, was an action plan and a timeline. So meeting summary, right, to be sent out as soon as possible is what would be the next step? The information goes out to the neighborhood.
Well, it goes out to you guys. If we've missed something, please let us know quickly so we can update it, send it back out, and then y'all can disseminate it to your neighbors. And then we'll keep you posted on as the auditors come up with a number to reduce the 70 down. I will inform you what that looks like and the timing of what it will be on the agenda, so
If
you'll
you're
know.
just looking for feedback, please just we don't just send it out.
You got it. Thank you for that.
But just thank y'all very, very much for being here today. It's an important part of the process, whether it's this or something else. As county judge, I want to be responsive too. Like I tell people all the time, you might not like the answer I give you, but I'm always going to take time to explain the why. If you don't hear back, my feelings are not hurt if you call me and say, why in the world haven't you called me back? Because life gets in the way, but I want to make sure we're open and honest. I know Kobe took a lot of bullets yesterday too. She works very, very hard for you and we want to serve y'all. And what you'll find out about me is, yes, I'm a Republican, but I took an oath to serve every citizen, regardless. Doesn't matter what political party, probably most of y'all are independents, but our job, Commissioner Kobe's job, is to serve you. So that's what our motive is. That's what we intend to do.
Great, thank you.